This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle, and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories, the True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. Hello guys and welcome to another fantastic episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional. It's another episode, it's another interview, but before we can bring in our guest, remember to check out our sponsors Rebecca Cassells and Martin Kearns. They've got some great stuff out. They're not only great authors, they're great people and friends of the show. I'm Jay O'Brien. With me always is Ryan. How we going, Ryan?
Good, mate. Good. Living the dream.
And living the dream.
I forgot my hat today. I don't know why, but I was in a bit of a rush because I was making breakfast and then got delayed and then, so it's all happening. So I'm hatless today for the first time ever on this podcast, I think.
Oh, I can put one on you in post if you want.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you could do that.
It might twitch around a bit, but
well, like, considering I wear the same hat every single time. Look, I've got an assistant bringing in my hat. Thank you very much. There we go. Not feeling it naked anymore. So thank you to my lovely assistant, aka my wife, for bringing my hat in for me.
All right. Well, now that your hat's on, let's get into the show. R D Moreno, how are we going?
We're going good. Good. Enjoying life. Having a good time.
Excellent.
How about you guys?
Oh, well, I'm going well. I'm pretty spry for this time of the morning. It's 9 o'clock in the morning over here.
Right. Yeah, it's still morning to you guys. Yep.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, who is R D Moreno?
So R D Moreno is actually a retired IT executive. I spent 41 years with AT&T and was voluntold to retire during COVID. So I was making my exit strategy already. So they just pushed me out a little early and actually did me a big favor. I've been retired and happy doing what I'm doing, not living in the IT grind of 12, 14-hour days. So I'm a happy camper. Oh.
Excellent. Well, we're going to get into your book a little bit later and all your writing, but we do have a tradition here on the podcast. We have icebreaker questions. We'd like to get to know the author before we get to know their works. There's a good chance that Ryan here will buy your book while we record. It's just a common thing that happens, and we think that
Awesome.
that comes down to the icebreakers because he gets to know you. But I think you can go first this time, Ryan. Seems I did last time.
No problem. Awesome. Okay, so let me set the scene for you. We live in a world of no war, where everyone's happy. There's peace among the galaxies. There's no cruelty to anyone, no cruelty to animals. Everyone gets along great. So, being that we live in that world, what is one thing that you would like to get rid of? We say that because everyone tends to go, when we first started asking this question, everyone tended to go for the politically correct answers, like let's get rid of war, let's go all that. So let's pretend that we live in a world where everything, like all the political answers are already happened. So we live in peace.
Yep.
There's no cruelty to anyone, animal or human. There's no wars. So yeah, in that case, what would you get rid of?
That's a good question. So that's a tough one because you got animals. You're not cruel to animals.
Mm-hmm.
You're happy in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, you're still having to work and all of that?
Everything else. Yeah, definitely.
Everything else is okay.
We're looking for your pet peeves.
Pet peeves?
That's what we're looking for.
Probably a more balanced work environment would be, because like I said, I came from the world of IT, and when everybody else is off at 5 o'clock, I'm still working at 9, 10 o'clock at
Yeah,
night, and yeah, so
yeah,
I would think probably a better work balanced environment
yeah.
um, would be one of them.
So
Yeah.
get rid of the overtime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, get rid of the overtime, and without any of the solace from your management about the fact that you're not working overtime.
yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I can understand that because I used to be a manager a lifetime ago, probably about 10 years ago.
Yep,
And
yep.
my contract said that I would work 38 hours a week with reasonable overtime. I used to work, I think, I don't think there was any 38-hour weeks, even in my first week of working that job that I did for 4 years. I think the average was about 70 to 75 hours a week.
Yeah,
And
yep.
only paid for the 38 hours a week, though, mind you.
Right.
Because if
Yep.
someone called in sick, I had to cover the shift. And because I went through the system and I became a manager, but I also knew how to fix gates, and I used to be a manager for a car park station, and I used to know how to do the tasks that all my employees would do, and then also have to deal with the bureaucratic bullshit from center management and head office and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I can
Yep.
definitely feel you with that, but I only did it for 4 years, not quite 41. So yeah, I do feel for you there. I do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, yeah. The last 5 years, I was an IT director, supporting HP. So I had a global uh, um, support staff. So I'd be on calls, outages going on in China or Europe or the rest of it, and I'd get calls saying you need to get on here and you need to do some escalation because stuff is going south. So yeah, you're
Oh
working tons of
wow.
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
that's
Well,
it.
I bet you're very happy that they asked you to retire during COVID
Oh, oh yeah. In fact,
then.
3 months after I retired, my old manager came back to me and asked if I'd want to come back. I said, no, no. You did me a big favor.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Oh,
Awesome.
nice.
All right, well, let's move on to the second one. What's something on your bucket list?
So for me, actually, I would love to see the Great Wall of China, and I would actually like to visit Australia.
Hmm. Well,
So my wife was a flight attendant with American, and she ended up budding with a bunch of Aussie flight attendants, and we went to Italy with a bunch of them, and we had a blast. And they told me all about it, and I'd love to go.
hmm. So the all the deadly animals don't turn you off?
No, 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 no.
A lot of people come on this podcast say they want to come to Australia, and then by the end of the episode, they don't want to. Because we just tell them,
Well,
oh, yeah,
if you go there with people that you know that know the
mm,
environment, then you're
Yeah,
probably fairly safe.
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
yeah,
my take on it.
yeah, yeah. No, no, it's fine. Coming from someone who's lived here his whole life.
yeah. I actually touch wood. I'm touching all the wood. I haven't seen any of the deadly animals that we have here, actual outside of a zoo or a wildlife park. So I'm I've lived in the Western Sydney my whole life, so I'm pretty not right in the city, but pretty close to it. So it's like suburbia,
Yep.
I guess you would call it. So yeah,
Mhm.
touch wood, I haven't had to see any of those deadly deadly animals. Jamie, on the other hand, has seen a few. So because he
Yeah,
lives up in the mountains, back onto a national park. So yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so a few
Uh,
more out there.
yeah.
All right.
I've seen a few. I've seen a few.
All
Awesome.
right. Question number three. So we did change this. So I believe you're the first or second person to have this new question. So what is on your Mount Rushmore of TV shows? Any genre, anything. So just pick four of your favorite TV shows to go on your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, so I pulled that up, and for me, Big Bang is one of them.
Hmm.
CSI
Yep.
is another one.
Yep.
Law and Order, and then the last one is Two and a Half Men.
There you
Excellent.
go. That's a
Excellent.
good variety.
And, yeah, and then if you just do sci-fi, we're gonna go back a little bit, but Time Tunnel, Star Trek, the original, Lost in Space, and The Expanse.
Yeah, we've had that.
Excellent.
We've had
It
that a
seems
few times.
it
Expanse.
seems to be amongst sci-fi fans, the because my wife's a massive Star Trek fan. She's a massive sci-fi fan. She loves Star Trek. Has made me watch all of them, including the
Yep.
shows and all the movies. But yeah, she actually is a massive fan of The Expanse as well. And we're noticing a trend with people who love sci-fi. Everyone is raving about The Expanse.
Yeah, it's worth watching. Yep, definitely.
And with your main Mount Rushmore, I can 100% get on board with every single show that you picked there. I absolutely
Awesome.
love The Big Bang Theory. I love all my Law and Order and CSIs. I've watched them all. And Two and a
Yep.
Half Men was a classic. I've seen every episode of that. As even the Ashton Kutcher ones where it got a little bit not so funny, but
Right, right, but it was still there. Yep.
Yeah.
it was, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But no, that's probably the best answer we've had
Yeah.
to the TV
Oh,
question in
excellent.
general.
Mm. Kung kung. All right. Number four. What's your zombie apocalypse plan?
So actually, we live out in North Carolina. We're on 2 acres. So my zombie apocalypse plan would just be to put a huge fence around our property. We could grow our own
Yeah.
vegetables and all of that. We're on a well, we're on a septic tank, so we could survive quite well out here.
That's yeah. You're done. You're prepped. You're ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. It probably won't come near you anyway.
Mm.
Right, right. Yeah, because we're out in the middle of nowhere. Yep.
Yeah. That's like me. I'm up the mountains. There's not even 2,000 people in my town. Um, so
Oh wow. Okay.
we're I
Yep.
think in COVID we had one or two cases. That was it. Like, it's just
Yeah, we had a few
Yeah,
more than that, but yeah.
I think with living on a property is good because even if the zombies do get up your way, you've got a vantage point. You could probably see them coming. You could probably just get on your roof with a rifle and just pick them off as they come.
Exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. Awesome.
yeah.
All right, our last question. Now, do you remember some movies from the Bill and Ted, like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus
Y-
Adventure?
y- I do. So for me,
Excellent.
it's kind of a standard answer, but I'd like Bill and Ted to take me back and find out who actually killed JFK.
Yes. Oh my
Oh,
God.
Oh, here we
Yes.
go. Here we go.
I am a massive, massive, massive. Uh, I wouldn't say fan of because it was a tragedy, but I absolutely love investigating into JFK and who did it. And I tell you what, I said this story online a few times, but there is actually proof that Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill JFK. And you can find it and I believe your equivalent is Best Buy over there to our JB Hi-Fi. And the reason I say that is because there was a limited edition Blu-ray of the movie JFK with Kevin Costner.
right.
And
Yep.
it was a very limited edition, very hard to get in touch with. But there is a famous Australian actor named Lockie Hume, and he is even more of a crazy JFK conspiracy theory nut than I am. And he actually has this Blu-ray, and basically what Lee Harvey Oswald said where he was when the police interviewed him, he said he was standing outside of a certain building in a vestibule drinking a Coca-Cola. And so they're like, okay, cool. On this Blu-ray, there is a DVD documentary about JFK's assassination. And
Yep.
he has analyzed this film, and people have too. They go to in the documentary, they actually show the building that Lee Harvey Oswald said he was at during the time of the assassination. And you could
Yeah,
actually
it's a book
see
depository. Yep.
yeah, the book, yeah. So he was actually, you could actually make out, and it's been analyzed by experts, that it is actually Lee Harvey Oswald in front of that building drinking a Coca-Cola at the time that JFK was shot. So you can actually solve the mystery, not who killed him, but the Lee
Right.
Harvey Oswald
Who
thing
didn't?
by just buying a Blu-ray. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I downloaded the unsealed JFK files that just recently got unsealed.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't read them all yet, but I'm starting to slowly dive my way through them. But I mean, there is still a lot of redacted stuff, but I mean, I'm hoping
Right.
that
There it is.
it shines a bit of light on some more stuff. So that's insane. I actually would go back and that is one of the things that I would like to do, see who JFK, yeah, who actually killed
Yep.
him, whether it was the CIA because of the whole Cuban Missile Crisis or whatever it may be.
Mm.
Right. Right.
So,
Yep.
excellent, excellent. So I want to buy your book before I've even heard anything about it, to be honest with you, because you're my kind of
Excellent.
people.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
I think that means you passed the icebreakers.
Oh, 100%, 100% he passed the icebreakers.
This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today. So, I guess we're going to get into the good stuff now. Just tell us about your writing journey, how you got started, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, for me, so I got addicted to sci-fi when I was a kid. Um, I saw Forbidden Planet for the first time when I was a kid, and that was it. I had to watch anything that was sci-fi related. And then when Jason and the Argonauts, when that was out on TV, and I got to see that, that took me into the fantasy realm. But then when I became a teenager and just getting into high school and the rest of it, I read the first Dune book. And
Mhm.
after I read that book, that's what started me wanting to write. But I was involved in other things, racing and cars and all that in high school, and then working and a family and all of that. So it just never allowed me the time to write until like COVID. When we retired, we bought our forever home. I remodeled the home for my wife, and then it's like, okay, what do I want to do next? And they had just re-released Dune after COVID,
Mm.
and I watched it a couple of times. It's like, okay, everything's percolating within me, and I think I'm ready to sit down and put a story together. So I put a group of characters together. I had an idea of what the storyline was going to be, but with the characters that I had built for it, I knew then how the book was going to go. So it took me 6 months. I started in August and I finished in January. So it took me 6 months to put the book together. And it's not a small book. I mean, you can
Wow,
see
it's a
it's a little
tome.
over 600 pages. So, but yeah, and I always, like I said, I always wanted to write, and when I sat down and did it, but for me, I thought, okay, I wrote this book, so it's out of my system. Well, 3 months later, it's like, no, I've got more to do. So
Yeah.
actually, right now, I'm in chapter 9 of book 5.
5,
Oh,
jeez.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
all that extra time to write. Yeah.
Well, my wife keeps me pretty busy, and
Yeah.
now my stepdaughter, she just bought a new house, so I spent all day at her house helping her remodel that house. So
Yeah.
they keep me busy during the day, so I
Yeah.
write and read at night.
Yeah. But do you find like when you're going through your day to day that you're thinking about your book, you're putting ideas in your head, so you're
Oh yeah, yeah,
always working on it in some way?
yeah, there's always something percolating in the back
Yeah.
of my mind. In fact, if I get stalled somehow when I'm writing, I'll go out and I'll do yard work, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
And while I'm out doing that, I can focus a little bit more and work things out on how I want the book to go.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that as well.
Yeah. Do you ever drop a rake and just run back to the house and write?
Actually,
Yeah.
I carry a small voice recorder. I don't have it with me. I carry a
Yeah.
small voice recorder with me,
Oh,
so I
cool.
can make notes so I can go back
Yeah.
and decipher those notes and then put it back together.
That's technology. It's the best.
Yep,
Sometimes.
it is.
Um, yeah, so this series you're writing Zada 5. Is that the whole
Yep.
series or like
It,
what's
it, well, it is. So like I said, I'm working on book five, but
yeah.
there's some things that are going on in book five that won't. Um, so let me step back. In book four,
Yeah.
things happen at the end of book four that continue on into book five. There's some new
Yeah.
characters that come out in book five, but there's some stuff that happens in four that really isn't going to come out during book five. So that's why I've already started working on the plot for book six.
Oh wow.
Do you do
Yeah.
you do you see
Yeah.
an end in sight for the series or are you just going to keep going like the Star
Well,
Treks?
well, for me, I'm kind of hoping that I can at least put it to a logical conclusion that
Mm,
yes, there could be more, but there really doesn't have to be with book
yeah.
six. Um, and actually, after let's see, when I was about three-quarters of the way through book one, I actually had all these thoughts in for another book, something completely different. It's complete fantasy.
Hmm.
And when I was done with book one, so I'm an independent author.
Yep.
I tried to go the traditional route, but
No.
I just couldn't get anybody to bite on it. And so the group that I work with, called Paper Raven Books, they help independent authors. They help with the editing. They help get me
Mm,
a project manager so we could do all that. I went through 3 rounds of editing, a book cover. They helped me get it formatted for Amazon. But when I was talking with their lead person and told her that had this other book that I'm starting to work with, should I go with that and then jump back into the other? And she said, no, 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 no. She says, if you've got other books out there and you bring this book out that's something completely different, you're going to lose some of your fans in that process.
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
No.
What I might do is, I know this is a little bit out of order, but seeing as you mentioned the cover, and I have actually just gotten the book because it's available on Kindle Unlimited, so it's on
Told
my
ya.
reading list.
Yes,
So
it is on KU. Yes, yes.
yeah, so definitely looking forward to start reading that. Let's talk about the cover for a minute. I always like, because I grew up a massive comic book fan as well as a reader.
Yep.
Absolutely devour books and devour my comics. I'm still reading to this day. So for me,
Nice.
looking at the actual artwork is just as important as the words on the page. So
Right, right.
with books, obviously, for me, before I started this podcast, the thing that would grab me would be the cover. I'd go, yeah,
Yep.
okay, I want to look at this. I'd
Mhm.
then look over the back of it, read it, and start reading it.
Yeah.
So, with your cover, was that something you designed yourself, or did you mentioned you got some help from the company that you're using? How
Yeah,
did that work?
so they use a company called 99 Designs, and what we did is we did a cover contest. So they provided me with 20 different covers, and this cover was actually the last one. So this was the last one to come out. But the woman had dark brown hair, and the swords weren't red. And you'll find out when you start to read the book why she needs to be blonde and
Mm.
why the swords need to be red. But when I made those tweaks to it and lightened them up so that they could see their faces a little more, I knew that was the cover that I wanted.
So, do you think you'll continue on with the same with the same 99 designs for the rest of the series?
Yeah, probably because I want to keep. I mean, as you go through the series, you don't want to change the book cover too much. You want to give it
Okay.
different tweaks to it, but you still want people to know that it's the same
Series.
storyline that's going through there.
Awesome. Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Now that you've thrown things out of whack, Ryan. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry about that.
Let's get
Yeah, you see
let
something with different cover, and it's
yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Let's get into the book itself. Like, what's the plot? Who are the
Okay.
characters? Like, introduce us
All
to the
right.
world.
Okay. So actually, Zeta 5 is actually a large mining planet. Like I said, Dune was a big effect on me in writing. So I wanted to pay some homage to Dune. And the way I present the book is Dune meets Game of Thrones meets Stargate. So
Oh, wow.
that's how I present the book.
That's
So
awesome.
so like I so so Zeta 5 is a large mining planet. It's surrounded by asteroids, so there's no actual way into the planet. But there's three moons that spiral around the planet, and every 3 months the three moons align, and they pull on the asteroid field and
Mm.
create an opening so you can fly in. You've got a
Okay.
day and a half to fly into to Zeta 5, do what you're going to do, and then get out. So you have transport ships that come to brick out. So on Zeta 5 they mine Xando crystals. The Xando crystals are refined, and that's what's used for interstellar flight. Kind of like with Dune, the spice must flow. With Zeta 5, the crystals must be mined.
Yeah.
Um, but so what happens in there, and in this environment, um, the Emperor brings on new planets because they're constantly looking for new minerals and things like that. So they're bringing on planets that are at a point where they can be approached, that they're mature enough to where you're not going to interrupt their evolution. And in the first chapter of the book, that's kind of what they talk about, the fact that they're trying to bring on this one planet, but there's a war going on and they're trying to resolve it. So Connor is one of the main characters. He's a young warrior. He really hasn't gotten his feet wet yet. And so in chapter one, this is kind of his first chance to get in there. And his older brother, Adam, who's a warrior that's been doing this for quite a while and has created a reputation for himself, crash lands on this planet and gets captured. So Connor is brought in to try and free his brother from capture. So that's kind of how the first chapter of the book goes. And with Connor, Connor has the ability to see the future, but he's still trying to figure it out. Yeah, so he has some mental abilities that he's trying to work out. He's getting visions of things that are going on, and he's still trying to put them together. And then in chapter two, the Emperor Esteban has a younger brother, Lorenzo. Lorenzo is a very intelligent, sharp scientist. He's the one that's helped develop interstellar travel. But he's also developing secret weapons that nobody knows about. And there's a lab explosion that exposes some of this stuff. And Esteban goes there to find out what's going on because his brother's not telling him anything. And so he goes to where this lab is, and you see a phasing going in and out. And you can see another planet through the phasing. And that's where they determined that that other planet is Zeta 5. So so they send Connor and his mentor Eric to Zeta 5 to figure out what's going on, why that's key to what Lorenzo is up to. In the meantime, Adam is trying to backtrack through what Lorenzo has been doing at some of these other planets with some of the different labs that he has to try and to uncover stuff that way. And when Connor gets to Zeta 5, there's a prophecy that unfolds that brings him into the mix, and he becomes part of that prophecy.
Wow.
There's a lot in that.
That definitely sounds very, very,
Yeah.
very, very up my alley, and I'm sure a lot of sci-fi fans would agree
Mm.
with that sounds really good. I can't wait to get it stuck into it.
So you're gonna leave right
Awesome.
now and read it,
Awesome.
Ryan?
No, 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 not at all. Now I'm not I will actually buy the book when I'm on the
Yeah.
interview, but I'm not so rude to begin reading it while we're talking to the author. So I'm not that quite that bad.
Yeah.
No, but now you understand why it's a little over 600
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
100%. Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I write books that are, you know, tiny. Um,
Well, sometimes that's good because you can get it out there and then you can go on to
yeah.
the next book from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next three aren't quite as big. So the books two and three are around 300 pages. Book four is right around 400 pages, but book five is probably going to be another chunker. It's probably going to be at least
Yeah.
500 pages by the time I'm done with it.
Yeah. Um,
Oh.
So what's your process like when it comes to writing? Like, because they're bigger books, so there's a lot of plotting involved. Did you pantser much as well, or how's that work?
Yeah, so the way I talk about it is I put a basic plot together, list the characters together, but when I start writing, the characters seem to have a mind of their
Their own,
own,
yeah,
and it's trying to steer them in the direction you want to go
yeah,
without going completely off the rails.
yeah,
But so I start out as a plotter and end up a pantser by the end of the book.
yeah. That's exactly, yeah, that's like me. Yeah. My last book was going to be a standalone, and then by the end of it, I'm going, this is a series. I didn't want it to be a series, but
Yep,
now it's a series.
it is.
It's just it's incredible just getting in the zone and just letting the characters
Well,
take you where they go.
yeah. And maybe I'll tell you what. So when I first started writing, I didn't want anybody to know I was writing because you hear all these stories. You start writing, 2 years later, you're still writing, and
Yeah,
people are asking, well, how's the book going? How's the book
yeah,
going? I didn't want anybody to know because I had no idea what it was going to take. I had
yeah.
no idea it was only going to take me 6 months to write the book. And so my desk is in the garage. So I'm in the corner here, and the door is on the back end of the garage. Well,
Hmm.
actually on the front end of the garage. So if people come in, if I'm in the middle of writing and stuff, I don't hear them come in. So they actually walk in and they end up standing behind me. And I had when I first started writing, I had it on the big screen. And so there's two other women in the book, Christina and Emily, which are the emperor's daughters, right? So I've got them on the screen and I'm starting to write, and my wife comes around and she sees the names Christina and Emily, and it's like, who is this Christina and Emily? Who are you writing to? And so it's like,
Uh,
well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. I'm
Yeah,
actually writing a book here.
yeah. Yeah,
oh
that could have
wow.
gone a different way.
Yeah, absolutely, it could have. So it's like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah,
I didn't know where this was gonna go.
yeah, and then you feel the pressure of like, having to, get it done. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and I didn't want to be there, be that guy.
yeah,
So, but yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, you mentioned Dune was an inspiration. I got a
Mhm.
little bit excited when you said Stargate because I'm a huge Stargate tragic. I just grew up on it, love it. But yeah, what other inspirations came? Um, yeah, what other inspirations did you draw from to write your series? I guess.
So there was a lot of H.G. Wells, Jules Verne,
Mm,
a lot of that involved in that. So I gobbled that stuff up as a kid. A lot of the Greek mythology stuff. So that's kind of why I came up with the prophecy part of it. And there's also a prophecy within the Dune environment. So it's kind of played on some of those as well to bring it in there.
yeah, yeah, because yeah, I'm a slow reader. I want to read it. I probably will read it. It's just I probably read one or two books a year if I'm lucky because I'm writing so much. You know
Right.
that
Yeah,
it.
well, that's my problem too. Is I'm a slow reader, and I've promised I've got a couple of other indie authors. They've agreed to read my book, so I'm reading their
Mm,
books. And one of them is 500 pages, and the other one's
yeah,
600 pages, and it's like
Oh
you're
wow.
killing me.
yeah. 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 Can you just give me the bullet
So,
points? You know?
exactly.
Yeah, well, that's the opposite for me because Jamie will read 1 to 2 books a year. I'll read 1 to 2 books a month, and like especially long ones because I love my high fantasy. And then it's very rare to find a high fantasy book that's under 500-600 pages. So yeah,
Right,
and
that's
especially
true.
because I'm not working at the moment, so I'm devoting a lot of my time. I devote at least 2 to 3 hours a day to reading, whether that's at
Nice.
night, whether that's reading comics or books or whatever that may be. But
Yep.
in saying that, I've gotten a lot more into reading since starting this podcast as well. So I like because I'm meeting the authors during the interview. I feel like
Sure.
that personal connection to the book, so it
Yeah.
excites me more to read the book. So I think, I've even probably gone a bit further than 1 to 2 a month lately, but um, I just absolutely love reading. I think we need to get more. That the whole reason we started this podcast was to get more eyes on indie
Right.
authors and get more people just reading in general because,
Mm.
in the world we live in today, reading is not like there are a lot of people that do read, but we've got all these other technologies, video games, streaming service, all that kind of thing, podcasts, and we want to get more people back into reading the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, absolutely we do. We do. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I started on TikTok.
Hmm.
So I'm linked into a lot of the book talkers now, and there's a huge support community out there for indie authors. So that's been helpful as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of us out there. I find it keeps growing and growing and growing. Like just you
Mhm.
just I mean we've been doing author interviews for probably 2, 3 years now.
Mhm.
Um
Nice.
and yeah, we just keep meeting more. We just keep meeting more and more, and it's like an
Mhm.
endless supply of all these people. They've all got great stories and they're all unique. Like it's um I don't know. It's like I don't find myself being drawn to the traditional stories anymore. And I
Yeah.
found I
Right.
because I've just heard people like they have to tweet like the company will take your story and go change this, change that. I mean, like it's not my vision
Right.
anymore. It's not my vision. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it's not what I wrote. It's
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's not. Yeah,
And
where if you're independent, you have more say so over how your book's going to be and the rest of it.
yeah,
And it's the same thing when I did the editing with my books is they suggested some tweaks and I said, well, yeah, but if I do this in another book, then I need this to be in there. And
yeah,
it's like, okay, well, then we'll leave it in there and we'll move on.
yeah.
And yeah, you wouldn't get that with a traditional publisher.
No. They'd be like,
Not at
change this,
all.
change that. Yeah, it's just like it's why I don't think I could ever go traditional. I'd be like, here's my demands.
Right.
You want to sign me? This is what's happening.
Right, exactly.
You guys sign on the dotted line, not you know.
Agree to my demands.
Yeah, that's it. Um, yeah, so you touched briefly on something else you were working on or going to work on, possibly another series that's
Yeah,
outside of the Zada sphere, I guess. What's that? What's that? Are you can you share anything about that?
yeah, yeah. So actually, I can. I'm. Let's see. I'm chapter 12 on that, I think now. So this one is complete fantasy. So it has to do with warlocks. Has to do with super warlocks.
Hmm.
Um, in the beginning, during the Spanish Inquisition, there's a spell book that's discovered, and it can't be destroyed. Um, the they kill the warlock that had the book and find out that he was actually a super warlock. But it takes a special key to unlock it. And the key breaks into three separate pieces. And during when Spain was conquering most of the world, the three keys are dispersed throughout the globe. And so as you go through the book is taken to the Vatican and then disappears from there, and you come into modern times, and so now you've got a warlock in there that's working with another younger warlock that's trying to train him because he has not been successful at finding the keys. So
Hmm.
he's hoping that this kid will help him find the keys. So that's kind of how the story goes. If we can find the keys, we can unlock the book because there's a spell in the book that allows the super warlock to live forever. So that's why they want the book.
That's cool. That's like urban fantasy. Is that what they call it? I think that's yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um that's awesome. Like I can see that as a movie right now. Like, Um
Right, right.
um yeah. Any other questions, Ryan, before we jump into our
No,
bonus
no,
stuff?
I'm totally good, man. I
Good.
think we've done a good job in learning about the book, and I
Yep,
can't wait to start reading it myself.
cool. Yeah, so we do
Excellent.
bonus content for YouTube. It
Okay.
was So for our audio listeners, do you just want to tell them where they can follow you, your website, anything you want to share before we jump into the bonus content?
Yeah, yeah. So for TikTok, I'm a RD Moreno author, and then for Instagram, it's RD Moreno author, and then I also have an author Facebook page, which is RD Moreno, comma author, and then my website is rdmorenoauthor.com.
Wonderful. Well, guys, on the audio, be sure to check out all that stuff and jump over to YouTube for this bonus stuff we're going to do. And yeah, if you want to reach out, thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. But let's get into the bonus content. So these are off the cuff questions. They're all author book related.
Okay.
You can have some thinking time if you want because this is pre-recorded. But
So you can edit out the gaps.
yes, they'll I think they get progressively a little bit harder as you go, but
But they're all author related. They're all book related, so it should be fine.
Yeah, hopefully. So just simple question first is what genre do you like to read?
So for me, it's mostly sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah. Cool.
Is that what you grew up on? Is that what you've always been into, or is there any other genres that you kind
Yeah,
of like?
well, like I said, it was mostly sci-fi fantasy, a lot of Greek mythology.
Mhm.
I did gobble up anything that was Edgar Allan Poe.
He's a common one. We've had him recently too. Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got some bizarre stuff,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Well, this pretty much ties into what I just asked. What is the first book that you remember reading?
Actually, The Shadow.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Is that the Shadow? That's also part of the DC comic book universe. Is that what I'm
No,
No.
thinking?
no, this is the
No.
original. This is the original Shadow.
Okay.
Yeah. And for the life of me, I can't place the name of the author.
Hmm. That's
But
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first into any type of fantasy sci-fi elm. It was yeah, it was a shadow.
It's
Yep.
not James Patterson, is it? No. Oh, there's a
No, no,
bazillion
no.
books called The
It's
Shadow.
older. Yeah, it's older than that. So
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
see. Probably in the 60s.
Oh, hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Let me get
68,
some.
so yeah,
Yeah.
So you
60.
started off reading at a very young age too, like a lot of us.
I did. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
Not
Well,
me.
I say a lot of us, but not Jamie. Jamie, I think only read two
Two
books
books in 27 years.
until in 27 years. So I think by the time I was 12, I'd read five books already. So
Yeah.
I had you beaten by about 15 years.
I think, wow, the original's for 135 bucks. If it's the right book. Is it Maxwell
Oh, geez,
someone?
really? Yes, yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, there you go. I'll put it up on the screen for those watching. All right, what's the most recent book you've read?
So actually I'm reading an arc, and let me pull it up here. It's a good story, but it's a little slow for me. And like I said, this one's 600 pages, and it's called Cinder Burns at Midnight, an
Mm.
accidental fairy tale.
Okay, if you want to give the author a shout out, who's it written by?
Yeah, it's Kara M, Karam, and this is actually her second book.
Okay.
And I couldn't tell you the name of her first book. I don't have that one.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Okay, what's a book that's on your to be read list?
So I've got a few of them. So I've got one from E. Edward Martin, and it's called, and of course it's not pulling up the right
No,
one.
it's all right.
What is it? Blueberry Daughter, spiritual Native American fable.
Cool.
Awesome. So I'm
Excellent.
sure Jamie will pop all that information in the show
Yeah,
notes. So
I'll
if
use the
anyone wants to
magic.
check
Yep.
them out.
Okay.
Yep, cool. All right. Now assuming that you're familiar with an old show called Gumby, the little green man.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Gumby and Pokey. Yep.
yeah, and his ability to jump inside books. So that's the premise of this question, is if you could jump into
Okay.
any book like Gumby for just to
Yep.
visit, where would you
Yep.
go? Which book?
That's easy. It'd be Dune.
Dune?
And I suppose what area or what time in June would you like to jump into?
I'd probably like to jump in after um I can't think of the kid's name. After the prophecy is unveiled, he drinks the poison
Hmm.
from the
Hmm.
worm, and he starts to expand through into actually the next realm of the other books.
Okay,
Excellent.
awesome. All right. Okay, so the next question is if you could spend the day with any fictional character, who would it be and what would you do?
With a fictional character.
Hmm.
Probably Darth Vader.
Ooh.
And would you conquer the galaxy with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hopefully he could teach me a few things while we're doing it.
So you would go in and hang out with Darth Vader and come back a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's it. And then
I
conquer our
love
galaxy.
it. I love it.
That's great. That's amazing. All right, next one's a bit of a fun one. We'll set the scene for you. It's a nice, let's just say log cabin, fire's burning. You're sitting on the floor, and there's a ch empty chair with your favorite book in it, and someone's going to come in and read that book to you. Who is that person? They can be living, dead, anyone you want.
Jules Verne.
Joel, oh, interesting.
And what book's he going to read for you?
Probably 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
think I think that'd be a great way to, that we don't get many people picking authors and reading their books. And I
Mm.
think it'd be really good to
Mm.
see, his interpretation of, of
Yeah,
one of his most famous works and how he would, read it and obviously because they would kind of act out some of the scenes and stuff like that. I think that'd be really good.
yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Do
Very,
we
very good answer. I like that.
do we have any recordings or anything of his what his voice would actually sounded like? Because it would be interesting to know what he sounded like, and it would be funny if he had a really bad voice, like in a, just like just not good at reading.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. I
No,
like that.
that's great.
Okay. Next question is, what is a must-read indie book? So something that's not on the traditional traditional published route, but that you've read and you're like, wow, more people need to read this.
Actually, I haven't read a whole lot of indie authors.
Hmm.
I've just started jumping into that part of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I read G. Edward Martin's The Return Flight. It's a short story. It's about 40 pages, and it's a
Mhm.
good read. I mean, it questions there's a group that were out in space for a long time, and they're coming back, and they're being tracked by something, and it's like, okay, do we bring it back to Earth with us, or don't we? And the quandary that they get involved with as they're doing that, and um, he brings a lot of aspect into different people that are going on with it. So I think it's worth reading for anybody to read.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, two to go. Two to go. This next one's a bit of a fun one. We'll get
Okay.
your creative juices going. If you could combine the works of two different authors, what would you choose?
Oh wow.
Like a crossover mishmash.
So maybe H.G. Wells and Edgar Allan Poe. How
Oh,
would that
That'd be
work?
a good one.
that'd be good. That'd be interesting.
It is definitely that there you've got like a sci-fi supernatural tale, I think.
Yeah.
I think that'd
Right.
be pretty. I'd definitely be on board. I'm a
Yeah.
massive horror fan. I love reading, watching, any kind of horror. I've
Yep.
recently just gotten a fair few indie horror books, which have been amazing. So yeah, I could definitely get
Hmm.
behind that. A sci-fi supernatural horror
Yeah.
kind of book. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I think you've tapped into something there.
Yeah, definitely. All right. The last question, and this is one of my favorites. If you're stranded on a desert island for the rest of your life and could only take three books with you, what three books would they be?
Actually, one of them would have to be my first book because I actually, with all the reading and rereading and re-editing and everything I had to do,
Hmm.
I actually enjoyed reading that book.
Okay,
The
excellent.
other one would probably be the second book in the Dune series because I never got a chance to read it.
Hmm.
And then what would the third book be? Maybe From the Earth to the Moon.
Mhm.
Okay. So definitely a very sci-fi desert island retreat.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Excellent. One quick question that's not, and it's not part of our
Yeah.
the questions at all. I meant to ask before when we were recording, but I forgot. What do you think? Are you a fan of the Star Wars books with the extended universe?
Uh, I haven't read any. Well, take that back. I
Okay.
started reading one of them. I'll have to look it up, but I haven't because one there I actually didn't realize that all these other books were out there until
Hmm.
I started writing and started going through that, and then started picking up these other books from indie authors and started to realize that Amazon was pumping all the Star Wars stuff to me and saw all these other books out there. I would think some of them would be an interesting read, but I just
Oh,
haven't
that's
had the chance to go
Mm.
through it yet.
oh, they definitely are. I've read quite a few of them, and I honestly believe that most of the Star Wars books that I've read are better than the final trilogy. To be honest with you,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, I honestly think that they should have been like if the writers and directors had tapped into some of the extended universe books that are out there, they would have made much better
Yep.
movies than
Mm.
than we got with the new lot, the new three that came out recently. Yeah, they're really, really good, especially the Luke Skywalker Jedi Academy series. So where he actually, goes and to a Jedi temple
Starts
and
teaching.
starts teaching essentially. Yeah, so definitely. Oh, look, I know obviously being a writer, you don't get too much time to read, but if you're ever at loss for something to read, I can definitely recommend the Luke Skywalker Jedi Academy. I think there's like four or
Okay.
five books in that series.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check those out. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. If you're a sci-fi fan, and obviously I can see the Yoda behind you, you're obviously a fan of the Star Wars. So, yeah, if you get a
Yep.
chance, check them out because they're absolutely amazing. They're all on Amazon in Kindle form or hardcover or like paperback. But yeah, definitely
Yep.
check them out. They're absolutely amazing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to put them on the list then.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a blast.
Yeah, thank you very, very
No,
much.
thank you. I appreciate the time. I've really enjoyed this. You
Yeah.
guys are a great pair, and this has been a lot of fun.
Definitely. And once I've read your book, like I do with all the authors that we talk to, I will leave a review on Goodreads because I use Goodreads a lot, and I know how important reviews are to writers, especially indie
Mm.
writers like yourself.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And I appreciate
No
the support.
problems.
You guys have been amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out whenever you want to come back on because we do get
Yeah,
repeat offenders all the time. So,
Okay.
yeah,
yeah,
just
All
definitely.
right, I'll
When
do that.
you're,
Absolutely.
yeah,
When I
when
get
maybe
to
when your
start.
next when your next book's ready for release, you're more than welcome to reach out and we'll get you on to talk about that.
Okay.
And obviously promote that for you as well. We're more
yeah,
than happy to have you back on.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I
All right,
appreciate it.
all right, guys.
Enjoy your morning.
We will. thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com if you want to reach out. All of R D Moreno's links and all stuff will be down below. Make sure you check that out. And remember to support the indie authors. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.
See you next time.
Awesome.